opens. So this tariqah knowledge opens only on top of the Sharia. So it's not something separate, it's a higher level of knowledge. So then people have to ask themselves about the reality of wudu. So you accompany a shaykh and say that in the wudu, what's the secret of wudu? Is the hands. So why Allah has us rubbing hands? And what's the importance of hands? Hands have power. If they're gonna fight and you want to fight, your hands have to have power. Hands have rahmah and healing. So something has to open from the hand to heal. Hands have the conveyance of knowledge. If you're going to convey knowledges, alam bil qalam, it must be from the hand. So at the much higher levels of wudu is the haqaiq of the hand. So then why in the wudu Allah has us rubbing our hand? Because the hands are encoded and they represent yadullah. That's why we said before in other talks, there's no Islam if you don't have bayat. This was never the case. Now bayat different for tariqah people, but Islam was based on bayat. Why? Because you had to take the hand of a guide. If it was a companion then we called them tabi'een, those whom followed the companions, tabi'een, and those who followed the followers of the holy companions. You had to have taken their hand. And initiation, you have to be initiated into Islam. Why? Because innal ladhina yubayyunaka yubayyun Allah. Allah has in Surat Al-Fath, the 48th surah, the verse of the bay'ah. And that when you put your hand to the hand of Prophet what happened? Allah is putting a seal upon you and saying, my hand is upon your hand. So the reality of the hand is what's happening with the wudu, but you don't know that and they don't know that. The purpose of the wudu was to activate the hand. And why the hand? Because we're trying to reach to the hand of Prophet, to the hand of Allah, so that Allah's hand be upon our hand. And that's atiyallah, atiya Rasul, ulul amri minkum. And that you must find a ulul amr and you must put your hand onto their hand and their hand to the hand of Prophet and to the hand of Allah izzati wa jalalihi. And only then with Allah's hand upon your hand you can now begin to activate your wudu and activate everything that we described. Those hands have to have power to fight, those hands have to have the power for knowledge, those hands have to have the power for guidance, healing. Everything that the hand does has to be activated. If activated, then we have our surahs that we recite in our awrad and our etiquette. In Surah Al-Mulk, tabarakalladhi biyadihi mulk, blessed be the hands who are in my sovereignty. Tabarakalladhi biyadihi mulk, blessed be those hands that are in my sovereignty, the sovereignness of God, the mulk, the kingdom. And if they accomplish higher and higher states, Surah Yasin gives them address from the heart of Prophet Subhanalladhi biyadihi mulku huwa kulli shay'. Allah's giving His subhan. We've talked many times but I don't think people meditate on it. Allah's giving glory be to those hands, Allah's giving subhanalladhi biyadihi wa kulli shay'. And that hand encompasses and has power over everything. Because Allah's hand is on it, of course Allah will give it everything. He's not saying those hands, He's saying these blessed hands whom achieved their bayat and they activated the reality, innal ladhina yubayyunaka yubayyun Allah, yadullahi fawqa aydihim. And don't break it to the detriment of your soul, because not the hand that you can pull away from. You can't pull away from Allah's hand, you can't pull away from Prophet's hand, and you shouldn't pull away from the ulul amr, otherwise despair comes into the life of servants. But the one whom achieves these realities of their hand, these are now the ayahs that are showing, blessed and glory be to these hands, that these hands are now activated. So how then they activate them is that Allah has us rubbing the hands. Why in wudu you're rubbing? Before you did anything else, Sharia level they say your hands are dirty, so you have to take the najis and dirtiness off. Okay, well you got passed through that, what's the haqaiq of rubbing your hands? These are coded, it's all codes on the hands. Allah has these lines. You think that the one whom designs, he designs and wastes time? Everything has a reason. For Allah put on the left hand this upside down triangle with a line, Arabic that's 81, left hand. Right hand a line, upside down triangle, right hand 18. What's Ismullah and Isma Rasul on these hands? And 18 and 81 becomes 99, and the 99 names of Allah dresses the servant. But you need to know the name of Allah, and the key for every name of Allah is a key from Sayyidina Muhammad, must be in the name of Prophet to open the names of Allah. Then you have 5 fingers and 3 lines on each finger, each hand 15, and 15 is the full moon. So each has its potential of its own light, full light. 4 companions and 1 Sayyidina Muhammad, 4 Ahlul Bayt and 1 Sayyidina Muhammad, and 2 moons. So without Ali, Fatima, Hassan, Hussein and Sayyidina Muhammad you're missing a moon, you're missing a light. And without Sayyidina, what do we have, Sayyidina Omar, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Omar, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Muhammad. From the pinky is the knowledge of Sayyidina Uthman, the allegiance of Sayyidina Umar Farooq as-Salam, the beatific nature of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, which is the tallest of the fingers, the one whom achieved immense realities, and the one closest to the thumb of Imam Ali salam of the family and reaching to Prophet means everything on us is coded. So what are these realities? What is the love of these holy companions and the reality of Prophet? He's like a finger but very unique in his identity. So the Muhammadan Haqaiq with the Khalifas, the Muhammadan Haqaiq with the Ahlul Bayt. So once we activate and we're rubbing and opening all these realities, and then we're putting these realities on top, and then again rubbing and activating more realities. So Allah has us activating. The purpose of wudu is obvious, to take dirt away before you pray, but when you got the dirt off, why do you keep having to make wudu all the time? Because only through the water we're activating. Once we activate, then now what Allah wants us to do, because it has to be activated with light. How are you going to bring the breath of a divine without it being from light? Means they have to have activated their reality. Then every time they wash, Allah sending light into their breath. Every time they put into their mouth, Allah sending light into their mouth. Every time they wash their ears, Allah unlocking the locks of shaitan, because the soul moves from the ears. The movement of the soul is when the lock is off the ear, because they hear samina wa ata'na, means their souls are moving with the command. They hear the salawats, they immediately can move into Divinely Presence, but has to have from activated hands. Then Allah has us washing and then putting nur upon our face, filling our eyes and our face with these lights and these secrets and these codes. Then empowering the hand, means everywhere Allah is asking us is to open these lights and these realities. So how are you going to open your hand to be in the way of Allah with knowledge, with struggle, with everything to support the way of Allah? is these lights have to be activated upon the servant. And then washing your feet. Allah doesn't only need clean feet for salah, but you wanted to have the qadam as-siddiq, the way of Prophet qadam al-haq, and we're trying to inherit from the qadam as-siddiq and to be muqaddam, those whom are on the footsteps of reality. So then Allah has us washing the feet. It's not the water that's doing that, but the servant that activated their realities. This through the activation of their heart, this with the bayah that they've completed, this with their tafakkur and contemplation, studying the haqqaiqs from the shaykhs, they become encrypted and they're opening all their encryptions. And every time they're making wudu, every time they're washing, Allah is dressing everything. It's not a function of taking dirtiness off. This is a function of bringing immense haqqaiqs and lights, and that's why they wash often. They don't keep themselves dirty and wash only for salah, because at every moment when they're washing they're being dressed by all of these realities. They're understanding their realities when they're rubbing their hands, and they understand that Allah, Ya Rabbi, make me to be purified and mutahhireen, those whom are washed and cleansed, but with its immense realities. And as a result, tabarakalladhi, Allah giving them, blessed are their hands whom they hold the sovereignty of the heavens, and glory be to the hands that understood that reality and they hold the mulk in kulli shay, that is all encompassing their authority. Because Allah dressing. Why? From the hand of Prophet is on their hand, and yadullah, Allah's hand is upon their hand. So of course then Allah's giving His own subhan to His own authority, because my hand is on their hand, glory be to that hand. Then Allah describes, and it was not them who threw, we threw. So again verses throughout Qur'an of what these hands do, and a hand from their right hand it moves light, and on the Day of Judgment people will see the light moving from their hands and ask, who are these people? These are the people of Yadullah whom they achieve the hand of Allah that dresses them. Means these are the haqqaiqs of the world of light for wudu. Wudu is not something you just do, take dirtiness off, and then some people come to us, Shaykh, I have a shower, do I need to do wudu all the time? So no, some people don't even understand that when you're in ghusl you need ghusl. After junub you have to make wudu before the ghusl, because you don't achieve those realities in the ghusl because there's no rubbing in your ghusl. You actually have to make your wudu ahead of time to activate your secrets, be clean and then make your ghusl. This is the haqqaiqs of these realities. So a nation that focuses only on the external, well they kind of lost everything. So they think, go to the gym and train for this and train for that and physically do this and physically do that and be mean and yell and show you're tough, but yet you didn't know how to open your hands. And with those realities that Allah opens, they touch a pen and knowledges are flowing from their heart. When those realities dress upon the hand, they touch people and healing comes to them. With those hands, if they touch their sword, illuminated lights come from them. Means everything is based on that reality. And if you take the hand of that servant, you have taken the hand of Prophet and you have taken the hand of Allah. And is the way into the heavenly kingdom, and shaitan stopped the practice of bayat, and people are not even understanding what is bayat. And all of it starts with bayat, so that to activate your wudu, so that to activate all your senses, and everywhere Allah asking you to wash. These are the haqqaiqs of washing and wudu. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa bi siri Surat al-Fatiha. Ya Sayyidi. Ameen.